Back in time.
Else.
Welcome to Club X's television tea party. We'll be looking at events throughout the decade, but first of all, let me hand you over to one of our hosts for the evening, Mr. Murray Boland.
Tonight, Club X goes back in time to find out what the programme would have looked like 30 years ago. We've all our regular features, Black Leather Jacket, Proverbs of Pop, Art Rage, plus some special guests. Frank Sinatra and Elvis will be along later, Terry Thomas and the Beverly Sisters. So without further ado, on with the show.
Charmed. Now, let's see what life in the 50s is like in the 80s.
All over Britain, young people are turning back the clock and getting into the dress and style of the Elvis generation. For Temporary Secretary Sarah Garcia, it's bobby socks and ponytail. Not so very different from those worn by her mother when she was a girl. And for young businessman Cav Kavanagh, it's the Brill Cream look all the way.
The 50s, I think, was basically the origins of the teenage rebellion and the changes in moral values. I feel that I want to do what I want to do without having to be dictated to and told what I want to do.
I suppose when you look back, you tend to look at the glamorous side and all the Hollywood movie stars and things like that, and the big flash cars. But I think everything seemed to be, to mean more. The music, the words, all meant more than things tend to do now.
After a hard day at the office, it's on with the blue suede shoes and out for a night on the town, 50s style. And that's quite some motor. But what would Lord Morris have to say about this latest import from Uncle Sam? For those recreating the never-had-it-so-good years, this is more than just a way of dressing.
It's fun, it's exciting, and you can take it on whatever level you like, whether you're just in for it for a day, a night out, a party, whereas I've taken it on as a whole way of life.
And where do the youngsters get together for a chat about the latest platter from their favourite combo? It's over a real Italian espresso in the coffee bars of London, Soho. But just why do they find the 50s so appealing?
Like in the early teens, I was looking for a sort of an identity, and it was the whole subculture, you know, everything, like clothes, dancing, music, obviously music, and then cars as well. And you've got a whole sort of network of people that you can relate to directly.
It's really easily identifiable, isn't it? And it's like a really definite look, it's a really definite image.
I've always liked the very distinct way people look a part of the eras in which they live. When you look at the photographs of people, my parents for instance, they look very much a part of their generation, whereas nowadays people look much the same as they did 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
My mum was a fashion model back in the 50s, so what she wore were dresses from people like Harper's and ball gowns.
It was a link with my parents because they were around at the time, you know, so I had something in common with them.
And there was just so much energy then. I mean, in the States particularly, not so much as you say in this country, but just the whole new, like, the first time ever there was an individual youth subculture, like something they had that was totally their own and that, like, grown-ups couldn't mess with, and all this rebellion, and it was just such an energetic, exciting time.
And now, from the champs, let's party with a little tequila.
The most important thing about the 50s, particularly as far as England's concerned, is that that's when the idea of the teenager, which is the idea of youth as consumer, first came over from America. And really the period until the Beatles came, which is about 63, is all to do with a dream of America that was fantastically powerful and is still very powerful.
My country 'tis of the sweet land of liberty, of thee I sing.
A part of it, I think, with us is maybe looking back to a time that was seemingly more carefree. I was a child during the 50s, and I remember sort of feeling of security and summers with, you know, rock and roll music floating across from the skating rink in the neighbourhood.
She wore blue velvet, bluer than velvet was the night, softer than satin was the light.
There's a very definite and very strong set of 50s images that have become set in today's culture. I think they represent innocence, stability, cleanness, high definition, certainty, all these things which I think a lot of people, including myself, feel that they lack in the world today.
But was it all as it seemed in the movies? Certainly in this movie it wasn't.
I think that's probably a bit misleading, actually, that sort of squeaky clean, like everything rosy in the garden and blue skies all the way. It obviously wasn't. There was a lot of kind of ugly sort of undercurrents, like the political situations.
And what was it really like?
I usually got away, but I need so much. I usually got away with your love and touch. I'm telling you, baby, I usually got away.
But back in the 80s, it's a typical night out at the Camden Social Workers Club in London. Like hundreds of clubs up and down the country, the dance floor is packed with lively youngsters. It's good, clean fun and a return to a past ideal.
I think marriage and relationships were very much more important then than they are now. The men definitely wore trousers in the household.
It was an age of innocence, in the sense that people didn't go out so much. They weren't seeing sort of death or whatever in the papers all the time.
Were the 50s really like that? Well, for these young people, it doesn't really matter.
But you've got to really feel the music first, and that's the thing that makes you belong. And loving that music makes you a part of this group of people.
And so we leave them jiving, or shall we say, cutting a rug.
The temperature is really soaring now as some of our guests begin to arrive. Here's Terry Thomas. Terry, what did you think of that last strand?